How do you?
I think it was just after 1 year, and as far as this procedure was concerned, just at the rectosigmoid junction, as I was moving forward, patient was having a little bit of pain, so I could not move forward, and Paul said you should stop over there. And then after that, because I was not being able to go forward, and then gave it to you.
So that's the description of what happened.
Yes.
What do you think you did well in there? Ask him. You're
उनसे पूछें कैसा गया? मींस वो जो चार चीजें, चार सवाल थे, एक दूसरे से पूछें.
आपका जो एजेंडा था, जो आपका एम था, उस मुताबिक आप कहाँ तक पहुँचे? क्या करा? आपने क्या अचीव किया?
उसमें सबसे जो इम्पोर्टेंट ये था कि मेरा टारगेट था कि पेशेंट शुड बी पेन फ्री. As I was moving towards the rectosigmoid, by the feedback of Paul's concerned, he said that you have given so much here, it has become an acute angle. So I was not trying to.
That's describing what happened and what went well for you.
For me, the good thing was that I was not forcing the patient to cross that acute angle, and by making it painful for the patient. So I asked help from the senior. So I told you that what should I do, and but despite moving it backward, I could not persuade that. That's why I gave it to him.
What do you think you did well?
As far as I think, after 1 year, he has.
That's
During
got
the
nothing to do with
procedure,
it.
forget 1 year now. You're supposed to comment on what he did well during this procedure.
He did better, no doubt. As far as I.
What did he do better?
He except passing sigmoid colon, he reached the cecum from beginning, except sigmoid colon. All helped us to cross the sigmoid colon. Then afterwards, he reached the.
डॉक्टर साहब ये क्वेश्चन है कि आपके ख्याल में इसने क्या बेहतर किया, क्या चीज़ अच्छी की?
टेक्निक के हिसाब से, प्रोसीजर के हिसाब से
क्या चीज़ अच्छी थी?
इसकी अलाइनमेंट ठीक थी, इसका अपना पोजीशन ठीक था.
तो आपको ये बताना है ना, उसको पॉजिटिव फीडबैक देना है. पहले आप अगर अपना असेसमेंट करोगे कि जो आपने टारगेट्स रखे थे, डिस्कस किया था कि ये चीज़ करनी, उसके हिसाब से कौन कौन सी चीज़ इन्होंने अच्छी की, तो यू ऑलवेज गिव अ पॉजिटिव फीडबैक फर्स्ट. तो आपको तो पता हो कि आप क्या क्या चीज़ें अच्छी थी. सो एज अ ट्रेनर इट्स योर.
As from beginning, sir, I got your point. From beginning, he took history. He gone through the whole file, and he explained the procedure to the patient. He asked about the reaction as well. He asked the patient about the initiation of the procedure, about the digital rectal examination. Then he put the scope. He gone gently, and his position was correct, and only and the handling of the scope, just at that stage he was keeping capturing the scope just long distance. That was one fault, and his finger was on the air continuously. That was also.
You're supposed to be telling him what he did well.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're things for later
I
on.
was telling him verbally with minimal air sufflation down to.
No. Now you're sitting here. You've done the procedure. पहले थोड़ा समझ लो. आपने प्रोसीजर कर लिया, आपका ट्रेनी अब आपके साथ बैठा. अब उसको आपने बताना है कि उसने क्या अच्छा किया. आपने उसको बताना है, अच्छा तुमने ये चीज़ें अच्छी की मेरे हिसाब से. उसके बाद आप बताएंगे ये चीज़ें आप और बेहतर कर सकते हो. ठीक है ना. अब जो पॉजिटिव रीइंफोर्समेंट का जो मामला है, उसमें ये कि आप उसको ये नहीं बताओगे ना कि ये चीज़ तुमने ख़राब की. आप ये बताओगे कि ये चीज़ तुम बेहतर कर सकते हो और ये तुमने अच्छी की. अब आपने 4 पॉइंट्स लेने हैं कि भाई अगर उस बंदे ने फॉर एग्जाम्पल, सॉरी पॉल, अगर आपने एयर इंसफलेशन सही की, स्कोप हैंडलिंग सही थी, आपकी टॉक स्टेयरिंग सही थी, ठीक है ना, जैसे आपने इनको देखा वो सही थी, आपका मूवमेंट जो था फास्ट नहीं था, यू आर कॉन्शियस ऑफ द फैक्ट कि पेशेंट को पेन हो रहा था तो आप उसको कर रहे थे. आप अगर रेक्टोसिग्मॉइड में फंस गए तो वो तो हम भी फंस जाते हैं कभी, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग. लेकिन जो काम किए अच्छे आपने वो अलग कर देने अपने हिसाब से। और उसके बाद आपने अगर जैसे आपने ये 6-5 चीज़ें शुरू की बताई कि उसने हिस्ट्री ली है कि ये आप आराम से ही बता देते हो कि प्री असेसमेंट वाज फाइन, एक स्टेटमेंट में इट्स डन, राइट, यू डोंट हैव टू ब्रेक इट अगेन। वो इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है, यहाँ पे तो आपकी प्रैक्टिकलिटी की बात हो रही है ना। तो प्रैक्टिकलिटी में जैसे आपने कहा कि वो एयर ज़्यादा रखी, अभी आपने सिर्फ पॉजिटिव बताना। फिर आप ये कह सकते हो कि देखो आप क्या चीज़ कर सकते हो बेटा, आपकी जो एयर है ना आपकी उंगली उसके ऊपर थी, तो अब आपको एयर जो है ना अपनी नहीं रखनी उसके ऊपर, या इसको अगर कम रखो तो आपको और फायदा हो जाएगा। सो जो ये लोग काम कर रहे हैं वो ये कहते हैं कि जी आप किसी को नेगेटिव नहीं करें, अनलेस कोई बहुत ही मतलब भोंगी चीज कर दी तो अलग बात है, नहीं तो अदरवाइज यू जस्ट से कि अच्छा तुम एयर अगर उंगली हटा दोगे ना तो और अच्छा हो जाएगा। तुम अगर टॉक ज़्यादा, यू अंडरस्टैंड। सो आपने पॉजिटिव फीडबैक पहले जो अच्छी चीज़ की वो देना है, और जो आपको नेगेटिव लगी उसको आपने ये बोलना है कि दिस इज हाउ यू गोइंग टू इम्प्रूव, दैट्स द फीडबैक, ठीक है। एंड यू शुड नो कि आपने इस अपने ट्रेनिंग में क्या क्या चीज़ें असेस की थी। तो आपने पहले डिस्कस किया होगा, मैंने मिस कर दिया वो अगर जो भी पॉइंट्स आपने उससे डिस्कस किए थे उसमें जो पॉजिटिव है और नेगेटिव है वो सिर्फ आपने असेस किया। Am I right?
Yes.
Sajda?
What's his take-home message?
Exactly.
Take home message.
Take home message, we should do with minimal air suppletion. That was, and the fast movement was there.
So slow down. That's
Slow
it.
down.
Okay. How do you think about that feedback he gave you?
It was a fine feedback. I have one objective regarding the air circulation. The bowel prep was liquid and was more not adequate bowel prep. That was for the human to visualize. I have given some air was.
No, he doesn't want to know कि तुमने किया अच्छा किया, तुम्हारी कोई गलती नहीं निकाले। तुम no, forget it. तुम्हें उन्होंने जो अभी फीडबैक दिया तुम उससे सेटिस्फाइड हो, उसमें कोई चीज़ अच्छी थी या खराब थी या क्रिटिक जो तुमको सही नहीं लगी वो बताओ। ये it's not about you doing colonoscopy.
Points बेहतर देने के एक तो पोजीशनिंग शायद थोड़ी सी पीछे की।
How do you feel when he took over? He wanted to take over 5 minutes earlier, and I said to him, so let's go through the 6 points. He looked at me a little bit vague, and I said it to him again. Does this mean you don't know what to do? Yes, but I need to demonstrate. So does this mean you don't know how to tell him what to do? And he didn't answer. No, he didn't answer.
He did not answer.
He did not answer. So then he turned to you. Then he decided that he'll have another attempt with you. Right? What? If I'm going to feed back to you, I'm going to say you lost complete control. Right? These guys, I don't come from Karachi, so I can say I'm not going to insult you, but I'm going to I think you lost complete control. Right? He went in, you were saying, oh, he's done it. Let's see, he can go. As soon as he put the scope in, I could see, okay, that bowel prep, he will start putting in a lot of air. He should have got to grips with it there and then. He actually did the right thing, but he did it too quick and then took off the torque steering. He knew what to do. He actually did this, then took himself in to the rectosigmoid and then pulled back the scope, and then he shut off the entire valve. He did this. There was one point when you asked him to stop, and he continued with the scope. Then you asked him to stop, and he continued with the scope. So obviously there was a misalignment of your agenda. There was obviously a break in the contract. My thing to him would have been, if you're not going to listen, I'm going to have to show you what to do. Then when you took over, he'd actually got further than where you got. And that's when you actually are going to do something, if you're going to teach, never, my golden rule is, never, ever, ever let somebody get into a position where you can't get them out of it. If they've got into a position where you can't get them out of it, then you've failed. And I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. I was a little bit upset because he wouldn't stop when you told him to. He wouldn't give you the scope. Just a couple of times. So there were safety issues. What could you have done to make him stop and understand what you were saying?
How would you stop? अगर ये नहीं सुन रहे, is not your trainee is not listening to you. What are you going to do? What he's trying to tell you is there are times when you put your foot down, and when you've already discussed, in that you've told them very clearly. When I say stop, means you stop. You don't stop, I will take the scope out of your hand. Period. We need to sit down and talk because there is no point. That means you don't want to learn. When I say stop, no matter how good you are, you stop. Period. You don't stop, you are breaking the contract. I will take it over, or I will tell you off, or whatever you want to do. When Paul sometimes says stop, right?
I shouted stop, and he stopped. The difference between my stop was stop, and you went.
No,
See, what he's saying is,
I was stopped over there, I was just making
Nah,
no. As a trainee, if you are told to stop, you put the scope down, period.
Stop.
If you were with my boss and he said stop and you didn't stop, you wouldn't be in his list next time. Now are good days where we take a lot of, we're told to take a lot of nonsense. My time, out. That's it, finished. So this is how it was. So you need to understand, you need to enforce. You need to, what he's trying to tell you is that command has got to be with you. You don't lose the command and control. Control has to be with the trainer. बोलिए आप घोड़े की लगाम आपके पास होनी चाहिए. आपने लगाम खींची तो stop. खलास. You understand? So you have to be more assertive. Does that make sense, Paul?
It does. No. You saw what I was saying, and then when you took over, you didn't tell him what you were doing, and you're the guy. And I'm not trying to embarrass you, but you're the only guy in this room who said you were consciously competent. So therefore, you knew, according to yourself, how to do the procedure, and you knew what you were doing, but you couldn't tell him what to do, even in Urdu. So if I was to ask you now to re-evaluate where you sit on the conscious competence scale, where would you be? You'd be further back by saying unconscious competence. Because you're able to...
You understand the difference between the two right now?
Yeah.
Conscious competence versus unconscious competence. See, most people are at that stage. Conscious competence would actually break what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's aware of what he's doing, and he's competent in what he's doing. But he also knows what he's doing, right? So if you know what you're doing, he's saying that you take a step back, and you tell the person, look, what you need to do is pull back, give a clockwise turn, stop, pull back, or whatever you want to do, or tip up, clockwise, tip, whatever. So you need to understand, sitting back, what is the next step of your training. If you know that, then you have conscious competence. If you don't, then you're not there. You're in unconscious. You may have some conscious competence, but you're not completely conscious. Paul, because I'm kind of barging in.
No,
I wasn't part of the initial discussion,
No,
but I'm just taking it from.
So at the end of the day, when I took over, then I started telling him what to do, what I'm doing. And then I put the scope back, and then he says, then you says, that's further than what we are. Oh, I'm afraid I am, but I didn't say that to you. I said it to him. I said, I'm afraid I am. And then put the scope on, did the talk back, and I was telling him exactly what I was doing. Clockwise talk on, anti-clockwise talk on, was I not? And now, as I do now, I'm coming round, I bring my shoulder round the clockwise talk, and there's the scope straight. I advance the scope, and I put it at the hepatic flexure. Next minute, he says, I'm going to see it. Oh, no, you are. No surprise there. Is what, if you remember, I said to you, no surprise there. What had shut it off, what caused the problem was air. And this is now going to upset you. You gave him too much respect, sat in this chair before you walked into that room. He's fine, he's done fine. And we were all pre-warning him. No. Nothing against him. It was to return
This
to
is a training exercise. You have to understand, this training is not about doing colonoscopy. This training is about how do you teach colonoscopy, right? This is the whole concept. So when you're teaching colonoscopy, you need to understand what you're doing, and you need to, even more importantly, understand what your trainee is doing incorrectly, because when he's putting in air, now when he's expanded the whole damn thing, he's made things that might have been very easy for us, very difficult. And that's what happens very frequently, where a trainee is allowed to give, and then they get you into such positions that when you haven't seen, bloody hell, what the hell has happened, and you're trying to reduce, and then eventually you make it up. But because you were not watching, this is what happens. They make it very difficult for you, whether it's air, loops or whatever. You understand? So what Paul is trying to tell you here is that you need to know what your trainee is doing wrong, which will make this procedure difficult for him as well as for you if you were to take it. तो आप उसी वक्त मना कर दोगे. एक मिनट ठहरो. You need to make, देखो, ball prep is not good. Don't put too much air. Right? So अगर आप पहले से warn कर दोगे तो then you will better be careful. If you put too much air, it will become difficult for all of us. Right? So what he is saying is कि आपको थोड़ा stern होना पड़ेगा. Soft नहीं हो सकते आप. Soft नहीं हो सकते. आप patient की care, because when I was listening to Paul, he said all our focus actually is patient first, right? His comfort and safety both. You don't want him to be uncomfortable and you don't want him obviously to be unsafe. So, you are a soft person. I know that. Because you don't have. But maybe when you're training, you need to be a little bit more stern.
What am I?
You are. Oh man, you are difficult. Thank God you're not my teacher. Oh my God, no, he's a very softy. I'm not soft at all. I'm not a good trainer, I'll admit.
Very soft.
Very soft. You need to be patient. You need a lot of patience in training.
I think the take-home message from this is that you know where you could have done better now yourself. But most importantly, you've got to look at your own skills themselves and start talking to yourself as you're going along. Not slowly applying a clockwise talk here. This is what's happening. You were saying the right things that those who've been trained in the wrong order. Nothing against, but you gave him too much respect to start with. You shouldn't have said what you said because it's hard then to pull in the reins because he thinks he can bolt off like some young maverick horse so he can do what he wants. Whereas I'm friendly, but this far enough with you. When it comes to, I'm friendly as hell and I'll go, I will do anything. But when I'm in the room, I change. Sorry. No bad. You're lucky you didn't get that one. I told you it actually comes worse as the day goes on.
अगर आप लोग एक concepts बन गए ना concepts, ठीक है ना? That's what this exercise is all about. It's about making you aware for overviews.
Always. So if we look at our objectives, are they specific enough? Now we were talking about what objectives are. Everyone was struggling to know what an objective was. Yeah, they knew once when they were writing their thesis, etc., what an objectives and the name was. So now all of a sudden when you mention that, they go, oh yes. So if we're to look at your names, are these specific enough? So if techniques, what technique? What specifically in the techniques was it that you actually wanted to learn? What is it you were wanting to know? So if I was to say techniques, I'm going to say to you, you need to understand the concept of slow towards the earth, keeping the scope straight outside the barrel, even the bits between the hand and coming back here, how important that is. So it's going, again, back to basics. That's what you should have done with it. If we look at communication, I like how you're talking to the students and all the way through. Not a problem. If you'd have changed your position, you could have changed emphasis. Change position where you did. No, that's what I do. I'll stand here, I'll stand there. I'll say right. I didn't have to be next to him to shout stop. I just knew it had to be done. Okay. So your comms will improve. The comms, in particular, is having the confidence to speak. Okay, it's having to say the right word. Okay, I've got that. So comms is speaking, saying the right word. We'll give you some words to speak, but the most important word to go away with is stop. Learn from others. Do as I do, have we taught that? Or is it that we're saying these are good concepts for you to work on? So if I was saying, if you said learn from others, what are we actually looking at? We're actually looking at Is there a role model I can contact? Is there someone I can actually talk to clarify a few issues? You're a small group now, so what you can do is keep in contact with each other and say, I'm having difficulty doing that. Then you can contact someone. Now, if you're having difficulty and you've got the gumption almost to actually say, and then as a group, ask him, 5 out of 10, 10 out of 10, that's for these ones, same for you. So, and so, techniques in comms with juniors and colleagues. How do you feel? So, techniques. In particular, what technique have we been focusing on?
Well, I think I learned especially the talk and then discussing.
We actually, in comms with juniors, you said techniques and communication with juniors. So you're on that talks theory? Yeah. But what about the comms?
Also, I learned these words, actually, the words, specific words during the procedure that should be used. So that's I learned.
The feedback.
Yeah, and feedback. So the big thing is that you'll find that you'll refine it yourself. You'll get sick of going, what did you do well, this is what you did well. You'll cut straight to the point. Tell me what you think you did well and what you didn't do well. Right. I'll tell you what you did. And then I'll tell you this, take up message. Because once the trainee gets confidence in you, you don't have to no longer couch what you're going to say to somebody. When somebody is confident that you actually know what you're talking about, they'll listen. And that's a big thing. Abbas, you've been very quiet the last 3 hours. Refine on skill. That's a nebulous thing. Absolutely massive. So what do you actually mean? What particular skill?
The skill of training to others, delivering the training to others.
So what you wanted was some kind of actual format, an understanding of a format, how to deliver training.
I learned from the micro teaching sessions and open group discussions and closed group discussions. So from these are some skills that I have picked and transferred to the training.
Learn skill to pass on knowledge. Again, it's real what skill. It's key. So you can actually, you said learn skills to pass on the knowledge. So what I'm saying to you is the skill itself, you need to be specific in what the skills are that you're actually focusing on. And I often, years ago, I used to write down, and I'd say, right, how can I make the scope look right? And I'd write it down. I can turn the scope right, I can use the wheel, I can do this, I can do that. You know, just work out all the options are to actually get the scope to turn right. Once you've got that understood, then you can actually then, in a training scenario, say, right, I can prioritise on these, this is what I will do, and this is how I will do it. So that's how I broke it down many, many years ago. Teach pain-free procedure. I do not like the term pain, I like the word discomfort. If someone's got pain, you've gone too far. If someone's got discomfort, that's not pain yet. I can give you pain, I can show you pain. Or someone goes, that's discomfort. Stop, reassess, reevaluate. Make sure you get the patient on your side. And most importantly, get the patient on your side. So pain-free procedures, keeping the air to a minimum. Most important, keeping the air to a minimum. Not advancing the scope too fast. And if you said push once, you said it 4 times. It's advanced. We never push. If you said push once, you said it 4 times. That means you said it 4 times. Ali, correct difficulty of performing. How do you think you did?
Not good.
So what's your learning objectives for that?
From that,
Yeah.
one has to be firm enough in the trainings.
So the training got you into a little bit of difficulty. But the sadness is of that procedure, you were unable to get any further than what he was. You'll probably fail, set that as a fair number of patient back. The reason why I was ignoring you guys about the practice, what is the chance of that patient coming back? therefore, that's what I kept saying to you. You kept saying to me, poor prep. Sure, yes. What is the chance of the patient coming back? Yeah, they can come back there, they can come back. No. What is the chance of the patient coming back? What is the chance of the patient coming back? Patient's got a good history to actually exclude a cecal lesion. What was the cecal like? Beautiful. So, what I'm saying to you is, when you're looking at what you class as bad bowel prep, what is the chance of the patient coming back? Can I watch this when I'm coming back? I learned that years ago here, when I spoke to it in the UK. What is the chance of the patient? If they've had a difficult time, they're coming back. Overcoming anomalies. That was an anomaly. And comms. The communication was fine, but you need to refine it. But when you say stop, putting your hand on someone's hand or arm is not against the rules. I said stop. Draw this far and no further. And look at you and think, whoa, what's going on here? I said stop. Okay? You'll be sent the slides that we've done, so actually have a look at them. But do look at the 4 C's and do look at the process where it says once you take over the scope. Well, I wasn't insulting you, I was saying to you, so you're telling me you want to take over the scope and I'm going through any of it. So you're telling me you don't know what the problem is. You said, I do know what the problem is. So you're telling me you don't know how to tell him what the problem is. And you go, what's he going on about? Working through 1 to 6 points. Yeah? You'll see it when you look at the slides, when to take over the scope. And if you're saying that you can't do, if you actually look, it's all about you to start with. As a trainer, it's me, I'm responsible for the reason why this person can't get around. And that's the truth. I'm responsible for the training. And Paul, core language terms. I keep things simple. I think stop. I can't speak Urdu, so a lot of you may not have been as effective as should. We've got a good team here, and the best team in the world. So if you have to sit down, now you guys have attended today, and I thought it was excellent. Try to get into a group and sit close together, discuss a few things. And it did appear that you did do that. And you need to get support from each other. The most important thing is that you are going to find it difficult. And the only way to do it is to start teaching, doing it slowly. The easiest way to teach is actually for you to pass the script to the seeker and give it to them. Watch what it is to come back. That's safe. All the patients on the back. That's the more stable script. That's where I would start if I was actually thinking about what should I do, how should I do it. Then you can lay this around what you do. Right, I've finished for the day. Hope you guys have had a good time. Hope you don't feel too beat up. This is a hard course. We don't tell you how hard it is. It's a hard course where we expose you. Because you notice there's very few people around. It's a hard course to have deficiencies pointed out that you probably thought you didn't have, but also you're probably thinking, I've got this far, and clearly I haven't said that. So we're not trying to embarrass you. All we're trying to do is put you on the right path. And by being firm, but supportive, that's the most important thing. Firm but supportive. You'll get there. But being firm but supportive in this group is everybody knows. We all say this kind of thing. Don't laugh, it's not a joke. But in the room, there's a different, absolutely different. Thanks. End of the day from me.
Okay, quickly, feedback from all of you. 2 words, 3 words, whatever. Starting from the last.
Really?
What?
Really thankful. The journey I started in 2017 with hands-on colonoscopy workshop, and your team and you all accepted me as a family member. And I'm on this day. I'm honored for this day. This is more than enough for me. Thank you very much. This course was wonderful, and I am, by the blessing of Allah, in a state that where I was feeling that many times trainee used to ask, "Sir, I am stuck, and what should I do over here?" No, then sometimes I used to say, "I can help you, but I cannot you tell in my words." So today I was feeling deficiency that how can I learn that I have this skill, I can help you, I can get rid of this difficulty, but I can't explain to you, talk like this and do this and this. And today this course will be inshallah fruitful.
You know, when these courses were first talked about in the early 80s, I went to the Dean of Nottingham University and in his office. And I didn't get to see the Dean, I got to the door to see the secretary. When I actually explained, and then you see the Dean talk about these types of courses, he turned around and said, "Do you know them doctors in the country?" He said, "This is what you say to me." I said, "Yeah." So, she says, "Do you want to teach basic courses?" I said, "This is the basic courses that
Mhm.
no, it was never okay. I'll put it in for it was okay.
Mhm.
Then all of a sudden, I was still involved with the high school ground, and then it just shot off from there. Now, just because someone saw that there was a placement, the core courses, that's the basic thing. These courses are not bad schools.
Yeah.
These courses will practically be still billions. You don't need to return to basics. You need to return to basics. Understand? You got so far, even yourselves are fitted it, you lost. You used to write objects as you were in there. That was the basics. Now you need exalted officials. So you need to, in colonoscopy training, or any training you're doing, return to basics. It's safe. It's okay. It's okay to keep it simple.
Mm. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was very excellent workshop, and we learn a lot of things, and inshallah we will try to practice in our department, which we are lacking in practical approach. And also I will highly recommend to our colleagues to participate in such type of workshop, and I am looking forward to attend the next ERCP workshop inshallah in September. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, all of you, especially you. The most important thing that I learned is to start thinking, to divide my action in pieces, to explain my trainees. And I think I would concentrate on that, and then I would do it, inshallah. Thank you very much again, all of you.
Thank you so much, Professor Saad Khalid Sab, Professor Sajda, and Dr. Asim as well, and Dr. Paul, for providing me opportunity to come here and learn a lot from you people. And it was a wonderful practical experiences, points, practical tips for the improvement in our as a administrative post as well as a teacher. So very helpful points. Thank you so much.
Anything?
I'd just like to thank the guys who were your students. They hung around a long time. They really put a lot of effort in. I'd like to thank the staff, the tech, nurses. They actually want these courses to be successful. They actually go the extra mile. They are there to support you. They don't want you to fail. They want you to go away from here and be happy. But seriously, they want you to be happy. But that's the key to it. The staff here want people to go away and say, those people have had a good time. The staff there are very supportive. It's not just the professors, it's these guys, all of them. Thank you.
Clapping for them, come on. Okay, Dr. Saad and Paul, certificate distribution. Oh, God.
You and Paul will distribute. I will see.
No, executive director has to
Sits
be
on
in
the
the
chair
picture.
here.